Hello, this is Keith Owen. Welcome back. Today's tutorial is going to be another example of how you can perform a certain function in Microsoft Excel, and then how does that compare to how you could do the same thing in Python code. Now, the reason why I do these videos where I compared it to is because as a data analyst, you're going to be working with many different tools, and you need to understand how you could do one thing in one platform and then apply that same type of logic to another platform, which is Python. So today we're going to be talking about the SUMPRODUCT function in Excel, and then shortly thereafter we'll go into Python to show you how you could do the same thing on this data set. Now this data set is quite large. It's like 500,000 rows. And what we want to do is we want to calculate the sum product, meaning we want to multiply the quantity column by the unit price column to give us a product row by row. And then after all that calculation is done, we want to sum up the results to get the total value of quantity times unit price for all rows in this database. So in Excel, we could use the sum product function. And the array is, the first array is basically what column do you want to multiply by another column. So in this case, we want to multiply everything in a D column, which is the quantity. So click on there, Control Shift down arrow, Control backspace to bring you back up there. And then the second array, what do we want to multiply the values in this column by? So we want to do it by unit price. So Control Shift down arrow, Control backspace. Let's close out the function and then press enter. And for the total of it, meaning as we go row by row, we're multiplying quantity times unit price. And then after all these rows are done, it will sum up the product values for every single row. And this is how we come up with this value. So let's do this another way, which is a little bit longer, but it's a way to verify our results. So we're going to take equal. We're going to take the quantity in this row times the unit price, okay, and then press enter. And then we're going to copy this value down. So let's get down to the bottom here. Let's first control down arrow, and then Control Shift up arrow. Oh, that's wrong. So it's, give me a second. Let me Control down arrow, and we just want to go to column K, and then Control D, which copies this formula all the way down for all the results. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to come over here and we want to sum this column, and it will provide us with the same value. So equal sum, Control Shift down arrow, Control backspace to bring it back up to the formula. Let's close out the function and press enter. So as you can see, it calculates the same thing, but doing it in a more efficient way by using SUMPRODUCT. Now let's go over to Python by using the same data set, and let's see how we could do it in Python. So let's go over here. Right now I'm using the Jupyter Notebooks coding environment. So first of all, in order to do this, we need to import the libraries that we need to perform this operation. So we're going to import Pandas library as PD. Shift enter in Jupyter Notebooks. When you do that, it runs the current cell, meaning it runs this cell, and it creates a new cell below it. If you do a Control enter, it'll just run the current cell, but it won't create a new cell underneath it. So now we need to read in the file that we're going to perform this operation on. So we could do that by setting up a variable path name. And this you could call anything you want, and it's going to hold the value of our file. Now, my file exists in the same directory as this current script that you're looking at. So right now I don't need to put in any backslashes or anything like that. And then press enter. Now we want to read in the Excel file into a Pandas data frame. I'm going to create a variable called df. You could call this anything you want. This just means it's a data frame. PD, because we're pulling this from the Pandas library, dot read underscore Excel. And this takes many parameters, but we're only using one, and we're just going to pass in the file name. Okay, the file name is file path. Okay. Now it is a large file, so it may take a little bit to read in the file itself. So give it a second. Okay, it read in the file. Now what we want to do, let's just make sure it read in the file. Okay, so I'm going to do data frame dot head, and by default it reads in the first 5 rows of this data frame. And there you go. So we did read in the file. Okay, so now what we could do, you type in B, B as in boy, to create a new cell below this one. And now let's perform the calculation. So we're gonna basically multiply the quantity times the unit price column, and we could do that in Python. We're gonna create a variable name, call it whatever that you want, and then we're gonna open it with a left parens because we want to perform this calculation first. So data frame, and we're going to access the quantity column. Okay. And you access a column in a data frame by having the square brackets around it. And then we're going to multiply that by the data frame unit price column. Oops. There we go. And then we're going to close this out because, in other words, before we go further, we want to make sure this gets evaluated first before we actually sum everything up. So that's why you have the this operation enclosed within the parens. Okay. Now dot sum method. Okay, what this is going to do, how this operates, it's first going to multiply the quantity times the unit price for each row in this data frame. And at the end of that operation, it creates an array or a series. And once it gets to that point, then it finally does a sum of all those product values, okay? And that's how you come up with the sum product of all this. So that's how that's done. So then we're gonna, after it calculates this, then we're gonna display the results, and then we'll match it up with what Excel is doing. So shift enter, give it a minute or so to go through this because it is a large database. It's 500,000 rows. So let's first see what the error is. Okay, let's go down here. I misspelled unit price. That's why I'm getting the error. So if you scroll down, key error unit, and as you can see, I typed in a T. So let's correct that. Let's press E, and now let's do the same thing, Shift Enter, and it went ahead and calculated that. Okay, now let's print the results. So let's print. We can use the print with the F string, which is formatting a string F, the sum product of the quantity and unit price columns is, then $, and then let's enclose this within curly braces, the sum product variable, okay, colon, and then what I do afterwards, comma right here means that I want to format the value sum product with 1,000 separator and with 2 decimal points. So then I do .2, and then that tells it to format it with 2 decimal points, and then F, which basically is going to format it. So if you have a round number, let's say $10, it's going to put $10.00. So it'll put 2 decimal points after that in that type of situation. Let's close this out. Let's see, I need a single quote, and then let's close this out. Control Enter. And then as you can see, the value here is 9.747 million. Let's go back to Excel, and you can see that it calculated it as the same value. So I wanted to do this short tutorial. Again, it's important that as a data analyst, you know how to do these things in multiple platforms. So hopefully this tutorial was useful for you today, and so you can apply it in your own projects. And again, I want to thank you for stopping by. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and always like and share this video because it helps with the algorithm to get this video out to more people. Thank you for your time today, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.